We followed most of the typical conventions of a film noir movie. We kept in mind the mise-en-scène, camera angle, sound, and editing. However, there weren't many film noir teaser trailers we could use as a guide, and there were limited film noir theatrical trailers. So we kept to the film noir genre and developed it into a teaser trailer format. Keeping the portrayal of the protagonist and the femme fatale conventional was an important factor. The protagonist was dressed in a suit and a trench coat with a fedora hat, sticking to the typical conventions of film noir movies. The femme fatale was dressed in a dress, trench coat, and heels, as she is in most outdoor meeting scenes in a film noir. Ethnicity-wise, protagonists are normally Caucasian. This is because in the 1940s there were limited African American actors. However, we chose to have an African American protagonist challenging the typical character conventions of a film noir. We filmed our teaser trailer in a small office and a dark alley in a suburban area. These areas are quite typical for film noir genre movies. The office was small and cramped and messy, and the lighting was dark with Venetian blinds. This is a distinctive layout of the protagonist's office. The alleyway was dark and long with just one lamppost for limited lighting and great shadows. The storyline includes the protagonist being manipulated by the femme fatale. We chose this format because in most film noir movies the protagonist goes rogue as he is enticed by the beauty of the femme fatale, so we chose to stay with the basic storyline. We used several props such as ashtrays, cigarettes, and retro phones. Most protagonists smoke. This adds to their corrupt characters of flawed heroes. The retro phone was used to implement that we are trying to keep the original film noir genre and format and not making a modernized film noir film, but a modern remake. We kept our teaser in black and white and didn't use colour because we were trying to make a modern remake of a film noir and not a modernized version of a film noir, so we stuck to the black and white colour scheme that was used in the original film noir movies. We kept this colour scheme throughout our package from magazine to the teaser trailer, keeping the black and white theme. The magazine requires some colour, so we used red, as it is a typical character convention of the femme fatale in a film noir. However, we did our poster in colour, as most film noir posters were in colour. The posters that we researched were mainly in an all-painting format, so we chose to go with this format. We found most posters had the femme fatale in their poster, but we chose to keep only the protagonist to show his importance is much more of that than the femme fatale. Our soundtrack was extracted from the LGFL audio site. We used a brass and string combo with a slow tempo, as this was the conventional soundtrack format. The brass and string combo works together to add a mysterious ambiance to the trailer. We used several different camera angles, from high angles to canted angles. High angles were used in the office scene to show the powerlessness of the protagonist. We used a canted angle as it was one of the main conventions of a film noir. The canted angle used in the scene where the protagonist is going to meet the femme fatale shows the distorted views he was having about going to meet this informant. Most film noir movies and trailers have a fade in, fade out as video transition. So we chose to stick to this and had a fade in, fade out video transition for most of our teaser to show a location change or time change. We also used the cross-dissolve video transition to show the flashback from when the protagonist is standing behind the Venetian blinds to the office. As we wanted a modern remake of a film noir, we decided to make the teaser trailer in black and white. However, we chose to film it in colour and then turn it to black and white using the tint video filter effect. We chose not to break too many conventions as it would break the film noir genre. However, we did challenge enough conventions to make it original.
How effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary text? The aim of our project was to create a promotional package for a new upcoming film, and this meant that we had to ensure our text worked together in order for it to resemble a package. There is a certain sense of style employed in all our three media texts. An example of how our three texts work together is through the use of our colour scheme. In both our magazine and poster, we have used three main colours consisting of red, black and white. We applied this colour scheme because the colours harmonise together. The use of red symbolises strength and power, which is a typical characteristic of a femme fatale. We use black because it symbolises a sense of mystery and is associated with fear, which relates to how our character, the protagonist, is feeling. The red merged well with the black and white, which enhanced the convention of a film noir. We employed the use of white to represent the protagonist's personality, as he is innocent, however flawed. Another way that the combination of our main product and ancillary text is effective is because we implemented the same font for all of our texts. We used the same title in our teaser trailer, magazine and poster to establish to the audience that we were constructing the identity of a film and it is part of one package. From carrying our research into existing magazines and posters, we found a certain sense employed within the fonts that they use. For example, most of the fonts were in the form of italics and slightly slanted. Therefore, this helped us to position and lay out our own title. We skewed the font and placed it on a canted angle, showing that we took into account typical font styles found in original film noirs. In all three of our media texts, we wanted to provide emphasis on our main character, the protagonist, as from our research into pre-existing film noir texts, we found that the protagonist is always a vocal point embedded within the image. Therefore, we ensured that the main image of him in our magazine was dominant and eye-catching to the audience. We also had a large overruling image of the protagonist in the poster, again establishing that the story is surrounding him and his life, which is a typical storyline found in film noirs. This gives the ability for the audience to identify that he is the main character. The magazine and poster that we constructed acts like a disguised advertising tool. Having an effective magazine and poster helped to advertise and promote the teaser trailer to our audience and entice them to watch the film itself.
We have conducted an audience feedback for our teaser trailer. This was to find out what went well and what could be improved.
Firstly, in terms of a media product, I thought that it was really good. The camera shots, the soundtrack and the voiceover, they all epitomised the genre, which was film noir obviously. I thought it was done really well. With the Venetian blinds as well, I thought it was really good. I think that just in terms of entertainment, it didn't really suit our sort of age genre. It was more 30 plus because of the low. So there's a more slow pace basically. I thought it should be more fast paced for something like. I thought that there wasn't an element of danger in the trailer. So I think there should have been some sort of colour standing out. So maybe something like red standing out. Maybe red lips or just red nails as she handed the letter, because I thought it needed the danger element to it.
Personally, I really liked it, like in terms of a media text. As a teaser trailer for film noir, it was really good. You follow conventions such as the Venetian blinds, the femme fatale, the backing music was really film noir-y. I liked the voiceover. I liked the way you used the green room for the car scene, although it could have been a bit better had you used maybe more props to make it look more like a car. But overall, as for an older target audience, I think it is a really good teaser trailer. Personally, I wouldn't want to watch it though.
Right, well I thought what was really effective at the start was the way that the colour faded into black and white, which was very kind of good film noir touch, emphasising the fact that, you know, it came from a time when these films were usually made in black and white. I thought the music was really effective, fitted the genre, the voiceover was excellent, and I liked the way that it was structured and the sort of lonely hero, which is another sort of classic film noir motif. Even better if it's just sort of little picky things, like I think the manipulator rather than the manipulative figure would have probably been a bit more kind of like a trailer. It felt a bit too much like a sort of an essay about cinema to talk about the manipulative figure. I think in a trailer it would have been more natural to talk about the manipulator or something like that. And again, a really sort of tiny thing would have been perhaps a typeface that was more suitable to film noir. I thought it was quite a sort of generic and bland typeface that was used in the writing. But otherwise I thought it was very effective.
We also use social networking sites like Facebook to get some feedback for our teaser trailer.
We produced the feedback, audience feedback for our teaser trailer. This was to get constructive criticism. This may help us in the future because it could tell us what we went wrong and how we could improve. So we can apply all these advice to our next work. For example, one thing that they said wasn't good enough was there wasn't enough tension or action to engage like the younger demographic with the adults like 17 to 23 years old. Also, the car scene could have been executed a bit better because they can still see the backing before the green screen was applied to it. So it just looked like there was just a still image and moving image in a still place. However, overall that we decided that this teaser trailer appealed more to an older demographic of 20 years old and upwards.
Final Cut Pro is one out of the range of softwares that my group and I used to construct our teaser trailer. Using this software, we were able to put our planning into action. We were able to arrange all of our footage that we have recorded onto one document to import to the Final Cut Pro software. This was helpful because it made it easier for us to handpick the scenes and shots that we wanted to utilize. Moreover, with Final Cut Pro, we put together camera angles, shots and scenes which we thought were not only beneficial, although essential for our film noir genre. We thought these camera angles and shots were beneficial and essential because they were conventional and typical angles and shots that a film noir genre uses. For example, the Dutch angle was used to give a sense to the audience that there is an atmosphere of confusion and mystery, which would be more emphasized by the use of chiaroscuro lighting for the mise-en-scène. We had to keep the right balance of brightness and contrast so that it looks like a typical film noir genre, otherwise it would just look like another copy which wasn't of the professional standard. This was also essential in early and most film noir films. Applying all this to Final Cut Pro was quite challenging, as I have certainly not incorporated the black and white colour into a film we have constructed before, so it was new for us. However, I believe it worked well with the angles, shots and the mise-en-scène. Moreover, another software we used was Garageband. We used this software to construct a voiceover for our film noir teaser. We needed a voiceover because it's conventional in a film noir story, plus it gives the audience a narrator or a storyteller who will guide them through the story. We used a tool on Garageband which was a male basic voice. This is because our protagonist and our main character was a man, so we felt that it was a necessity for the voiceover to be a male voice. The second software we used was Photoshop. We used this for our film noir magazine and poster. This is because Photoshop is the main software professionals use to give that extra creative style to a poster or magazine, so it was essential for us to use it. We used all sorts of tools like image adjustment, filter, extract, hue saturation and many others. The house style we were trying to achieve was a modern noir style in both the magazine and poster. We went with a colour scheme consisting of black, white and red to put emphasis on the genre of the film when people look at the poster or the magazine. With the poster, we decided to go with a close-up of the protagonist to reveal to the audience that the story revolves around him and the mystery behind it. The magazine, we also decided to use the image of the protagonist. However, this time, the protagonist was sitting down next to his desk, picking up the phone with other props beside him. This was to convey lots of connotations that the audience could come up with and eventually would want them to go see the film. All the images were constructed and shot with HD cameras, which helps to present a clearer picture. With motion, we couldn't use totally because of the animation wouldn't suit our film noir style. However, we did use it for the font of our title. For our planning, we used our Weebly sites to arrange all of our ideas and thoughts in the process of this project. For example, in our blogs, we kept a time schedule for when, where, and how we were filming. For our draft and final storyboard, we constructed our teaser trailer into stages so that we know when and what scene was after and the different camera shots. Moreover, we went to different places in London of our location shots and deciding where our teaser will be set. It was difficult finding and choosing a location because the streets of London do not look like the streets of New York, where normally film noir films are set. For the research part of our project, we used a lot of resources that were surrounding us, for example, the internet using sites like IMDb, YouTube, and Wikipedia. We also used a book containing all we needed to know and examples of film noir posters. The internet sites were useful because we were able to gain more information about the genre of film noir, analysing the films that genre, which also would give us inspiration for our teaser, poster, and magazine. We also used a software called SurveyMonkey to help us create a questionnaire survey. This survey was to help us gain an idea of what the audience is looking for in a film noir film. In addition, we will try to incorporate more media technologies and ones we have used before for our evaluation. We will be using green screening to showcase our project as a whole, like a film or a moving image which entices and engages the audience's attention. We will also be using Final Cut Pro to edit the footage and to construct the video as a whole. Creating as a video is more creative and relevant to a media-based project. To be even more creative, we have acknowledged an idea that we'll evaluate our work in a film noir themed style. For example, as our work is being shown, there could be a voiceover which sounds like the person is on the phone explaining his or her work.